If you clicked on this video, you're probably young and either still in high school, or maybe you're working your first job and wondering if you can find something a little better than what you're doing now. If you're still in school, you're probably looking for a high-paying job that you can get without going to college, which makes perfect sense because college is for the birds, and so is going into massive amounts of student debt. We all know student loans are pretty ridiculous these days, and you're probably not going to be a doctor or a lawyer because if you were, you probably wouldn't have clicked on this video. And that's a good thing. We need more people like you that don't want to waste 4 to 10 years of their life just to get some run-of-the-mill job that probably pays less than what Bob makes for fixing toilets. Bob probably makes more money than you, and you thought you'd be better off than Bob if you just got more educated. But you're probably wrong. Bob just got his first job and makes like 85 grand a year, and he also lives with his dad. So he's pulling in like 5 grand a month and playing Fortnite with the boys and getting drunk every night while you study for your Chem 101 final. You're probably not even gonna make as much money as Bob when you're 30, and by then, you're gonna be married and have a baby on the way and be super stressed, and then you're gonna forget to set an alarm one day, and then next thing you know, you just got fired from your super boring job because you couldn't show up to work on time. So be like Bob. Get a job straight out of high school, make a bunch of money at 18, while your classmates are just getting started on their 4 or 6 or even 8-year degrees, while also getting absolutely destroyed by student loans and stressing about whether or not they'll actually find a good enough job to make their parents proud. So be like Bob. Bob has money and friends. You have student loans and depression. So starting at the top of the list for this series, number 1 on the list is a sales rep. Sales reps have a median income of around $61,000 per year, but the sky's the limit. And some sales reps are making well into the 7 figures per year. So what do sales reps do? Well, believe it or not, sales reps are in charge of learning about a product or a group of products and then selling those products or services to their customer base. So you'll be in charge of getting to know your customers and what they want. So you have to learn about a particular product or service. Then you make a sales pitch to show that that thing that you're trying to sell can offer some benefit to your customer, and then you'll probably get some sort of commission from making that sale. And if you're a pretty good salesman, they'll refer you to other customers so that you can keep selling that same product or service to different people. So whether you sell cars or laptops or real estate, if you're an extrovert and good at developing relationships with people, maybe consider a career in sales. You'll have an almost unlimited potential for growth if you stay with it. Next on the list is the mechanical tower pilot, aka a crane operator. So as the name implies, crane operators move stuff around with the cranes so that you don't have to carry giant boulders up a staircase. So there's all different types of specialties when it comes to crane operators and heavy machinery in general, but a well-trained crane operator can make well over $100,000 if they learn the trade well enough. So depending on your particular area, training can take anywhere from a month or 2 to over a year if you're looking to get into the really big stuff like aviation work or commercial real estate. Either way, if that interests you, take a look. Number 3 on the list is the flight attendant. The median salary for flight attendants is around $61,000 per year, and you can certainly increase your salary over time. Not to mention, you get good job benefits like free travel points and pretty generous retirement investment opportunities, like a 401k and whatnot. And some of the bigger companies even offer retirement pensions if you stay with them for long enough. And obviously, as you know, flight attendants are the ones that interact with the people on the plane during the flight. So if stuff like traveling and some of the other perks of being a flight attendant sound interesting to you, give it a look. All right, the next job on the list is the electrician, sometimes known as Sparky by the other trades. Electricians make sure that the electrical systems of buildings and houses and businesses run smoothly. So if you lose power frequently, or if your microwave explodes, it's probably your electrician's fault. So electricians make a median salary of somewhere between $60,000 and $70,000 per year. But with freelance work and working extra hours and gaining experience, electricians can make well over $100,000 a year. So if you like playing with wires and stuff, give this one a look. All right, the next one is without a doubt the coolest one on the list, and that's the underwater welder. So I thought it would be fun to read some of the risks associated with this job, and this is taken directly off a job listing that I found on Indeed. Electrocution risk while performing welding duties, gas pockets of both hydrogen and oxygen gas can cause explosions, inhalation of toxic gases can cause fatal decompression sickness, risk of being attacked or killed by aquatic creatures, staying underwater for a long time can cause serious injuries to the nose, eyes, or lungs, and a waterproof suit may cause drowning if it has a defect. So yeah, if that sounds interesting to you, maybe check out some of the underwater welder training programs. So underwater welders can make anywhere from $50,000 to well over $200,000 a year, depending on the type of welding and level of experience. $200,000 a year is more than 95% of graduate students start off making, so that's a really solid income. Granted, most grad students probably aren't going to be killed by aquatic creatures, so I suppose that's a fair trade-off. The next one on the list is my personal favorite, which is the plumber. And the reason why the plumber is my favorite one on the list is because if they didn't exist, I'd have to unclog my own toilet. And I really don't want to do that. Also, I don't want to work in sewers. So I'm glad someone is brave enough to do that because that person ain't me. In all seriousness, plumbers make sure that all the appliances that run on water function properly. Without plumbers, we'd be living in the Stone Age, with no running water and no indoor plumbing. So we'd still be using outhouses and bathing in the local pond. Plumbers can start off making like 40 to 60,000 per year, sometimes more, but can make well over six figures with enough experience. And business owners in the plumbing world have the potential to make even more than that, as long as they have good customer service and management skills. Next on the list is a pretty cool one, and that's the wind turbine technician. And as you could probably guess, these dudes are the ones that work on and repair wind turbines. Wind turbines are those giant propeller-looking things that spin and make electricity. Naturally, like anything else with moving parts, sometimes it needs to get fixed. And that's where these wind turbine technicians come in. And median salary for these guys is somewhere around $60,000 per year. And like everything else on this list, there's no college needed. So you can learn on the job or through technical training programs that specialize in wind turbine training. All right, next on the list is the firefighter. Really don't need much explanation for this one, but I would say it's probably not for the faint of heart. I've obviously never been a firefighter myself, but I do know a few people who used to be firefighters, and you really gotta just kind of love that kind of thing. And you also have to be in pretty good shape. But worth noting, some firefighters can make over six figures, and if you'd rather spend your time saving lives instead of working a boring old desk job, maybe give it a shot. Also worth noting, firefighters do also do a lot of things other than just fight fires. They also show up as first responders to things like car accidents and other dangerous situations, and sometimes they even help get that cat down that's stuck in a tree. So switching gears to the next one on the list is the insurance salesman. And I know I already mentioned sales reps earlier in the list, but I keep hearing about insurance salesmen in particular making a pretty good living from commission, so I thought it would be worthwhile considering this career separately from sales reps. So insurance salesmen make an average of around $70,000 per year, but some of the more experienced sales guys can make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. So a lot of the time the base salary is relatively low for salesmen in general because they're usually compensated mostly through commission, similar to how a real estate agent or a car salesman only gets really paid the big bucks when they either sell a house or a car. But fortunately, insurance companies are pretty much all over the country, so if you think you'd be pretty good at closing deals, see if somebody in your area needs a new salesman. All right, last one I'll cover today is becoming a real estate agent. So to be a real estate agent, you do not need any formal education like a college degree or anything like that. All you have to do is complete 90 hours of a state-sponsored training program before you can actually get licensed. Once you complete those 90 hours of training, you'll just have to take the licensing exam in your state and pass. And then you can officially be a licensed realtor. Obviously, as we all know, real estate agents are the people that you talk to and communicate with when you're trying to buy or sell a house. So the buyer and the seller usually have their own real estate agent, and then those two real estate agents communicate with each other to try to negotiate a deal between the two parties. Once the buyer and the seller agree on a deal, the house gets closed on, and then the two realtors eventually get paid based on commission, so some sort of percentage of what the house sold for. So real estate jobs are everywhere, and competition can be kind of high, especially if you're in a really highly populated area. But if you spend enough time marketing yourself and building connections with other realtors and other customers, you can probably break out from the other real estate agents that don't market themselves or put in as much effort as you do. And the best part about being a real estate agent is that you generally have an unlimited potential for increasing your income. And in most cases, you can also set your own hours, especially if it's your company. So if you want to work 70 hours a week and make a couple $100,000 a year, you can totally do that. But if later in life you become successful and you want to reduce your hours a little bit, you can work like 10 hours a week. So there's a lot of leeway and freedom in working as a real estate agent. So that's why I saved this one for the end. If you're really committed to marketing yourself, both to customers and to other real estate agents, this job has a higher ceiling for amount of money that you can earn versus any other job on this list. And some of the real estate agents actually make well over $1 million a year selling properties in some of the bigger, more populated cities. So if that strikes your fancy, maybe take a look. Anyway, that's all I got on the list for this video. Hopefully this was beneficial to you in some way. If you want to like or subscribe, feel free, and I'll read and respond to anything in the comments. I appreciate you watching, and yeah, goodbye.